Most of you aren't subscribed. Make sure to boot the subscribe button, as it helps out the channel. Without further ado, following Anri, we see her mesmerized with Nagi's new double fake technique, but she is interrupted by Ego. Calling Anri's excitement uncalled for, Ego explains that athletes that continue to develop techniques and hone their craft are bound to bypass the norm, exceeding what is conventional, and that the players should strive to develop formulas to recreate these techniques. Celebrating their Nagi's goal, Isagi declares that with the help of Nagi, they'll be able to surpass Rin, but in order to become the best, he must defeat Rin alone. Whilst Bachira watches the monsters play, we see Isagi continue to plan out countermeasures for Rin, stating that if they can evenly match Rin's outworldly techniques, they'll have a chance. Tired of those below him struggling, Rin declares that if they want to play on the same team as him, they'll have to keep up with his movements. With Rin's team fired up, Rin kicks off, as Isagi teams run to their marks. With Rin passing to Tokimitsu, Barou is thrown off, as Rin's having repositioned, Rin openly receives the ball, which Isagi had observed, but Rin swiftly lodges it towards Ryu. Accepting the pass, Ryu controls. With no option, Ryu is forced to pass back to Rin. Calling Nagi to mark Rin, Isagi follows behind, wondering if Rin will pass to Bachira, or pull off a fake. With Nagi pressing Rin, Rin performs a roulette maneuver around and away from Nagi, but is caught by Isagi, stating that he had read Rin's intentions. Sliding to tackle the ball away, Isagi is stunned, as Rin declares that he's too late, having passed it to Bachira. Accepting the offer, Bachira follows up by scoring, all whilst Isagi thinks about Rin's control of the field. Realizing that Rin had not only assessed his own team's strengths and weaknesses, but with his own skills, he was able to force his teammates to evolve. Wondering if they can defeat this newly awakened Rin, the three reasons that there is still a chance to overthrow Rin, all whilst Barou stares down the field. Kicking off, Isagi notices that Rin is pressing forward, allowing him to trust in Shigiri's speed. Passing Ryu, Shigiri chooses to pass, avoiding a confrontation with Rin. With Isagi observing Nagi marked with Tokimitsu, Isagi watches Bachira's movements, waiting for the perfect time to lose him. But whilst awaiting a pass from Nagi, Isagi realizes that Rin had read his moves, and is now wrestling for possession of the ball. Just then, like a lion hunting for his prey, Barou emerges, stealing the ball from Isagi and catching Rin off guard. Due to Barou's unorthodox play, Rin was unable to consider such a play, which allowed Barou to score, making it 3-all. Taunting Rin, Barou beckons Rin to read his moves, which gives Isagi an idea of how to defeat Rin. With Shigiri marking Rin, Rin passes to Bachira, who welcomes Isagi's challenge. Realizing that Isagi is keeping a safe distance from his dribbles, Bachira realizes that Shigiri is approaching, which means Rin should be open. Sadly, Isagi anticipates this, running to mark Rin, and forcing Bachira to drive past Shigiri. As Isagi runs to intercept, Bachira is able to squeeze past, but is caught by Barou, who devours the three, and rushes towards the goal. Applying his chop feint, to bypass Tokimitsu, Barou loses possession. Seeing Rin and Isagi possess monster-like tendencies, Bachira grows ecstatic, believing to have found people like him, but is stunned when he realizes that those two monsters are in a completely higher plane than where Bachira is. As Shigiri continues to press Rin's plays, Isagi attempts to rebuild his thought process, but is too slow to realize that Tokimitsu is far more capable than expected. Forced to foul, Shigiri is able to prevent Rin and Tokimitsu's chemical reaction from spiraling out of control, but he gives Rin a penalty kick. As Isagi ponders on whether Rin will pass or score, Rin makes the ball vanish, stating that Isagi's analysis of him is flawed, as his ego would never choose to pass the ball. On the side, Bachira questions how he'll catch up to these monsters if he continues to pass. Blaming himself for not picking up on Tokimitsu's potential, and not anticipating Rin's ego, Isagi realizes that Rin had chosen to shoot, because Isagi himself was who Rin was facing. With the score now 4-3 in favor of Rin, Isagi begins to formulate a plan, as he kicks off. Tagging behind Barou, Barou believes Isagi wants to pass, so Barou attempts to run past Tokimitsu, but is pissed when Tokimitsu keeps up with his movements. Using Barou as a decoy, Isagi presses on, but is thwarted by Bachira. Seeing Rin and Nagi close in, Isagi chooses to launch the ball towards Chigiri, prompting everyone to run after it. Using the ball and crowd as a distraction, Isagi leaves Rin's vision, heading straight towards the goal. Seeing Isagi open, Chigiri passes to him. As Isagi attempts to strike, Rin barely catches up, stopping Isagi from following through, but this was what Isagi had waited for. Wrestling Rin, Isagi allows the ball to bounce behind him, only for Isagi to strike it with the back of his foot, scoring. Tying the game, Isagi reveals that the play was a gamble, as he had relied on the fact that Rin. Digging deep, Bachira searches for the reason he is not able to keep up, all whilst Rin kicks off. As Barou wrestles Tokimitsu for the ball, Chigiri helps double-team, but Tokimitsu is able to pass to Rin. Attempting to intercept, Isagi barely misses, as Rin lodges a high ball towards Aryu. Marked by Nagi, Aryu is able to gain possession, looking for someone to pass to. Spotting Bachira, Aryu passes, as Bachira begins to overthink how he can help. Lost in a daze, Bachira loses possession, as he chases after the ball. Chatting with Nagi, Bachira comes to the realization that, at his current state, even if Rin's team loses, Isagi will most likely not pick Bachira. Seeing Barou and Isagi surpass their limits, Bachira reaches out to them, wanting to not be left behind. Realizing that he had been suppressing his own ego, Bachira attempts a steal from behind, but Isagi evades, passing the ball off to Chigiri. In tandem with Nagi, Chigiri is able to get the ball to Isagi, who directs the ball towards the corner of the goal. Just then Rin intercepts, allowing the ball to fall into Bachira's possession. Switching to attack, Bachira notices the monster appear, as it beckons him to pass to his teammates. Standing firm, Bachira realizes that he had been suppressing his ego all this time, and it's about time he breaks this curse. Nutmegging Isagi and Chigiri, and crossing Barou, Bachira forces Barou, Nagi and Chigiri to surround him. Seeing no way out, Bachira is tempted to pass to Rin, but knows that there is another option. Bringing the ball up, Bachira maneuvers his limbs in an unorthodox manner, flinging the ball over the defenders, and passing by with ease. Breaking free, Bachira bids the monster farewell, as he states that he'll be reborn with this goal.